No, it's okay. Hello again, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome to this event, the joint event of COP-Greece and the Biocircular Working Group of the Agri-Food for Future project. My name is Elena Salonikidou. I am going to be hosting the first part of this event. Let me just share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, but you can put it in a full mode, please. We can see your notes.
My notes.
I think. Yes.
Okay. Just give me a moment. And now? I can see your presentation.
Yes, me as well. It's okay. Just try one more time.
Sure, let me say again, maybe. Now?
Now it's totally fine. Okay.
Great. So, welcome again. I will be hosting the part of this event on behalf of Elgo Dimitra, which is a partner in the Agri-Food for Future project. So this is a two-part event. The first part is the Biocircular Working Group webinar, which is focusing on the topic of agroecological zoning. And the second part is a co-creation workshop hosted by ACME and COP-Greece, focusing on sustainable practices and diseases. Before I welcome our first speaker of the day, I would like to share with you a few information about the Agri-Food for Future project and some things about its transnational working groups. First of all, Agri-Food for Future project aims to innovate in the vocational education and training ecosystem of the agri-food sector by establishing a network of centers of vocational excellence, of COVs, in smart farming and sustainable food systems. So these COVs are active in 6 European countries, in Italy, Spain, France, Portugal, Belgium, and Greece. Their role is to foster expert networks, collaboration, and knowledge exchange within and across these countries. So to support this objective, the project has also established transnational working groups. These groups bring together experts from the different COVs and beyond to explore and develop new ideas and innovative sustainable solutions to current challenges in agriculture and the food sector. Their purpose is to promote knowledge exchange, collaboration among professionals, and networking within its specialized community, which is exactly what we're going to do here today and what we're doing. These working groups, transnational working groups, are structured around 4 key thematic pillars, the pillars of the project itself, which are digital, green, biocircular, and innovation and entrepreneurship. So pillar 3, the one bringing us together here today, focuses on resilience and sustainable food systems. And we can say that is guided by the main question, how can we produce in a more resilient and sustainable way? So a transnational working group is a community of experts and strategic actors from all the AF4F countries. The working groups are open in new members joining them, calling for participation from specialized vocational or higher education professors, specialized companies, startup representatives, specialists from public institutions, sector representatives, consultants, researchers, open to anyone who is actively engaged in the agri-food sector. Joining a working group is an opportunity to join a European working group focused on one of the 4 pillars of change in the industry, facilitating connections with experts from various countries and fostering synergies. It also works as a promotion for the members of the project. It offers regularly updates on the working group activities, on the webinars, on the project's training programs in its region. Through short webinars like today's webinar, experts have the opportunity to present themselves, to share their experience, their expertise, their needs, and to connect with others, making this very, very valuable for the agri-food community sector. So we welcome anyone interested in joining this initiative to become a part of the transnational working groups. This is a QR code and a link if you would like to join your country's call to join the transnational working groups or any of the working groups of the 4 working groups of the project. First, you will have to register with your COV and then join according to your expertise the working group. This is the 2nd year of the Agri-Food for Future project, so we are halfway there with many interesting sessions and training programs to follow. Okay, so that was all introductory of my side. Just I would like to shortly introduce our speakers of the day, if that's okay, Ms. Kokini and Mr. Kazoulis.
Yes, of course.
I just hope I'm pronouncing your last names correctly.
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes.
Kokini and Mr. Kazoulis. Okay. So Metaxia Kokini is a researcher at the Laboratory of Agronomy in the Department of Crop Science at the Agricultural University of Athens, specialized in agroecological practices, particularly in the use of legume intercropping to enhance ecosystem services like soil health, biodiversity, and natural pest regulation. She has also contributed to broader agroecology research on ecosystem services provided by natural vegetation. And Mr. Gazoulis is a researcher at the Laboratory of Agronomy within the same department. He leads research on sustainable weed management techniques, including thermal weed control and the use of service weeds for ecosystem services. His work spans topics from legume intercropping to digital decision support systems in agroecology. So thank you both and everyone for being here today.
We thank you.
Of course, Mrs. Kokini, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the introduction and your presentation as well. I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a moment, please. My internet connection is a bit stable, so I have to wait a moment to upload the presentation. Sorry about that.
I think every one of us has been there, so it's okay.
Okay, I have to try again. Sorry for that.
It's okay.
Sorry, it's not working. I don't know why.
Okay, if you are having some trouble, maybe we can start with Mr. Gazoulis.
Okay.
Give me one moment to try again. Sorry.
Yes, of course, no problem. Just if it
Just,
doesn't work, don't worry.
to share my
Yes.
screen.
Mr. Gazoulis, just one
Yes,
moment.
can start and I will go next.
Okay, great.
Start and I will go next.
So, Mr. Gazoulis, please.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes, Yannis.
Yes.
Okay. So, and let me check one moment if you can see it in presentation mode. Now, did the change the slide change, Nikos?
Not yet.
You see only the first one.
Yeah,
Now?
and not in the presentation mode.
Okay.
But we can see your screen.
Okay. Now in presentation mode, I changed slide. I went to the second slide. Did it change?
No, now we can see the first slide.
Okay. So I'm gonna do it not in a full presentation mode, so as we do not lose time, and I will just zoom in the screen. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the topic of the presentation of this current presentation is to discuss about agroecology as a key component for transition of sustainable agriculture in a changing world, and also to present some preliminary results we have in a European program, Good Agroecology for Wheat, which is focused on the development of sustainable, integrated and agroecological wheat management practices in a wide range of crops in several living labs across the European. Well, first of all, to remind us all that agroecology is a scientific discipline nearly 100 years. It is not prescriptive. There are no specific recipes or technical packages or strict rules. It is a science. It is a movement. Since it aims to challenge power structure and create linkages between rural and urban popular classes, and is also known as a practice focused on the use of renewable resources, local farmers' knowledge and identification of priorities, wise use of biodiversity, and all these are around providing ecosystem services to natural habitat. So the good agroecological practices that can be implemented in agricultural land, and not only in agricultural land, also in neighbor and non-crop areas, first include crop diversification, where we have 3 or even 4 different practices: the rotation of crops, crop rotation. That means that in each year on the same agricultural field, we alternate crops with different characteristics. The intercropping, which means there are 4 types of intercropping, but the central concept is that at least 2 crops coexist in the same field for a specific time. Cover cropping, the use of crops that just cover the soil during fallow periods and are not harvested but are used only to provide ecosystem services, and also the case of double cropping in a rotation to produce a double income. Other practices include the use of organic fertilizers, composting, mulching, agroforestry, the use of natural pesticides, non-chemical weed and pest control, site-specific practices, reduced tillage, sustainable grazing, and more others. Here is like some pictures of cover crops we have in our living labs of our project, of another project in Greece on the left hand, about the one green project in Greece, focused also on agroecology in all life groups. Also some pictures from intercropping, a scheme of crop rotation, and a scheme of double crop. Agroecology always leads to important ecosystem services as soil health improvement, organic carbon sequestration, protection and promotion and improvement of biodiversity, weed and pest suppression or even management, reduction of GHG greenhouse gas emissions, and reducing of leaching and others, also the support of pollinators. And all these are very important, especially in the current area of climate, of a climate change. I will now proceed with the presentation of the current project we are running with multiple partners from abroad. The project, the acronym is GOOD. Its name is Agroecology for Wheat. It includes several partners from Portugal, from Spain, from Italy, from Serbia, Greece, and also Northern Europe and many other countries. And we have established living labs and experiments in different soil climatic, pedoclimatic conditions, so as to build robust solutions that can refer to multiple and different conditions. Specifically, we have 16 living labs in 6 different pedoclimatic conditions, and under study there are 9 arable annual crops and 6 important permanent perennial crops. More than 14 cover crops are being, different cover crop species are being tested. Also, we study inoculation practices from the 2nd year and the 3rd year of the trials of the project. And also, in general, the focus is in the development of sustainable agroecological weed management combinations, both in that can give solutions to farmers, both in conventional farming systems, but also in organic farming systems. Results of first-year trials, whose objective is to investigate agroecological weed management solutions as cover crops, mechanical weed control, herbicide application and reduced application rates, to evaluate the weed management potential of and also in conventional organic farming system. And these results come from the perennial crops, of our living labs, and especially from olive groves, citrus orchards, and vineyards in Italy, Greece, and Cyprus. The reason for presenting the perennial crops here is because in perennial cropping systems, the management of which the last 2 and 3 decades is exclusively dependent on applications of glyphosate, a controversial herbicide that is probably the most effective because it has a unique mode of action, but the continuous applications over years has created, first of all, lack of efficacy because of development of herbicide glyphosate-resistant weeds as Conyza species, the fleabens, especially in olive groves and vineyards, while at the same time there are many environmental concerns about the exclusive use of herbicides and also some metabolites that are related to the toxicity of glyphosate. So the first living lab I'm presenting results is from Italy. From Italy, our Italian partners have established with management experiment in a citrus orchard now the results come from, first of all, the winter. Why the winter? Because the cover crop is a plant that is established in early October, mid-October, in autumn, in the fall, so as to get the rainfall of the winter and produce high amounts of biomass that after termination, meaning the killing of the cover crop, either by mechanical means, by a mowing operation or something, this after termination, the mulches of the cover crop in perennial crops will remain on top soil surface to create a layer that will suppress and make difficult the emergence and growth of wheat seedlings in the summer, when it's the time where the trees start to produce flowers from the spring, to fruit set, to fruit quality improvement. So then we have results about the cover crop biomass and the wheat biomass when the cover crop is actively present on the field. And then after its termination, meaning the cover crop residues, and we have more plots in the summer period with some more treatments of either herbicide application or conventional and reduced rate in conventional farming systems, either mechanical wood control operations and non-chemical options and methods in organic farming systems. In Italy, we had four cover crop treatments, meaning an untreated control, a faba bean cover crop, Trifolium alexandrinum cover crop, and a mixture of two cover crops with different characteristics, meaning hairy vetch, Vitia villosa, and oat, Avena sativa. Also, in the conventional farming systems, the mulches of this cover crop, along with the control, remained as treatments. And then we had herbicide application, glyphosate, of course, at full rate and at reduced rate, and also mechanical wood control with spade. In the organic farming system, we had only 5 treatments with 3 replications, meaning along with cover crop treatments, we added a mechanical weed control operation. As you're going to see, the mixture of the two cover crops, hairy vetch and oat, produce almost 6 times the biomass of the other two cover crops in the conventional farming system. All cover crops could achieve to reduce the density, meaning the number of weeds. And with the summer treatments, we can say that the faba bean cover crop and also the mixture of the two cover crops achieved a very good suppression of weeds. But this observation is early in the growing season. There were some problems with mechanical operations and also with herbicide application, because there may be some weeds that may be potentially resistant to glyphosate, especially because there was a lot of hairy flea bean and Conyza bonariensis and Conyza canadensis, which are very suspicious that they are resistant. And also mowing cannot control easily those weeds because they have a deep taproot below the soil, and after mowing they regenerate by displaying extremely branching. To continue now, and in the winter I have to remind you this picture where we can see that this citrus orchard was dominated by Oxalis pescaprae, a controversial plant that for honeybee keepers is considered a supporter of pollinators, which is actually very true, and the plant can offer important ecosystem services and act as a cover crop by itself and self-dried when the fruit set period begins. But in some cases, others can also think that this plant is invasive and it can displace native flora, reducing and affecting biodiversity. So, also in the organic farming system, again, the cover crop with the bee species mixture perform better both in terms of biomass production and both in terms of weed density reduction, but here the weeds produced higher amounts of biomass in general. There were species that had a significantly more aggressive growth rates. As for the treatments, here the mechanical weed control treatment was more effective because there were a lot of grasses with shallow root system in this site, as Echinocloa crusgallis, Setaria sp. So these weeds could actually be more easily controlled than in the conventional farming system, where there were broadleaves with a deep taproot. Now, I'm going to present you the results, the layout and results of the trial we have established in Nemea wine region in Greece with Nikos and our research team. Here we have again 3 cover crops, common vets, oat, their bee species mixtures, and untreated control, and we also have seven treatments here. Cover crop, untreated control, the cover crops that I already mentioned, and untreated control, glyphosate application at full and reduced rate, and also mowing operation, which is even safer for the perennial crops. And also in the organic farming system, where we had also 2 more mechanical treatments. Now, the mixture of the 2 could produce not so much. The difference is not so high, but there is a difference between this mixture and the monocrops, not as high as in Italy, but there is a difference, a significant one. And also this cover crop could reduce the biomass production of weeds per unit area. And this is probably attributed to the higher biomass production of the cover crop, which can be attributed to the fact that when different cover crops with different characteristics, that means they belong from different functional groups, are combined, they exploit different kind of resources, so they don't compete with each other. They exhibit complementarity of resources, and they can produce maximum biomass and leave less resource amount available to weeds. That's maybe that could be the explanation for the advantage shown in multiple experiments, as we can see not only here but also in literature, compared to monocropping scenarios in cover crops. Also, the summer weeds were very difficult to control. We achieved a control only in the conventional farming system in treatment 2, where is glyphosate applied at full rate. We had a very difficult situation that could not be easily faced because the field was infested with 2 specific broadleaf perennial weeds, 2 climbing vines. The first one you all know is Convolvulus arvensis, the field bindweed, but the second one was Synanchum acutum, a noxious species that has invaded the Nemea, the wine producers there, because the weed has tolerance to multiple herbicides. It's not easy to control. It emerges in times where it can't be controlled. It climbs the vines, producing high biomass, and also because it has a climbing growth habit, it can cause mechanical damage to the stem of the vine. So disease infestation become a real possibility and a real aggravation of this situation later in the growing season, especially if a sudden rainfall occurs in the summer. Also, in the organic farming system, the performance of cover crop was the same, but not a single treatment we did would provide a significant reduction of wheat biomass. There were some differences compared to the untreated control mainly, but we did not have good results and good efficacy because of the wheat flora composition. Now, I'm going to present you a trial in Cyprus in olive groups where we have actually combinations between practices. We have a split plot arrangement, meaning a 2-factorial design with 4 cover crop treatments integrated with 6 wheat control treatments in subplots in the conventional farming system. We have 4 cover crops, untreated, common veg, pea, and the mixture veg plus pea plus wheat. We add because we need to all the time create mixtures with plants with different characteristics. For example, veg and pea can contribute to nitrogen fixation, but also the cereals as wheat have rapid growth rates and can contribute to the good production of biomass, high production of biomass, combined with potential allelopathic effects of the residues after termination to the emerging wheats. The 6 treatments, sorry for the parenthesis, the 6 treatments were an untreated control, mowing operation, mulch placement around the trees, hoeing operation, herbicide application at the full rate, and herbicide application at the reduced rate. Now you can see that the veg cover crop and the 3 species mixture produced high amount of biomass. Wheat biomass was lower in all cover crop plots. We had also some plots without replication with tillage to compare something, but this had also higher biomass than the untreated control. And also here is the chart showing multiple interactions in the main crop after cover crop termination, where we can see, for example, that the combination of veg cover cropping followed by a mowing treatment in late summer can reduce the number of weeds significant point compared to other combinations. Or we can see that the combination of herbicide application and cover cropping resulted in the lowest values. Also, mulching could achieve good results. There are multiple combinations that should be further tested in this site where we have a more complex experiment. And now to present the organic farming layout where we have 4 cover crops and 4 treatments and 4 treatment combinations, meaning 16 combinations repeated 3 times and a result of 48 experimental units with the same cover crops and treatments as in conventional system, and treatments we have untreated control, mowing, mulching, and hoeing. And again, all cover crops could achieve during the active growth stage of the crop, could achieve very good suppression of weeds, but also weeds did not emerge due to limited rainfall events. So it's not, we don't have a clear picture that this is only suppression of weeds by cover crops. And we can see a perfect example in organic farming system, veg plus hoeing led to the production of a very small amount of weeds that was like 5 grams per square meter, and also other successful combinations of including the pea cover crop along with mulching, the 3 species cover crop along with mulching, and others that could build the basis for agroecological weed management combinations. Now, some short summary and a little discussion of these results. We have observed that in all living labs, in most cases, the mixtures have produced significantly higher amounts of biomass, probably due to the complementarity of resource exploitation from species belonging to different groups. Weed infestation has in many cases with biomass production a negative model, either it is linear, either it is exponential, either it is polynomial. Negative models are observed with cover crop biomass. Also, the cover crops that produce the highest amounts of biomass produce higher amounts of residues that are deposited on soil surface, so as this layer of residues delays, at least, not to say reduce, the emergence of weeds. And also this delay in weed emergence can also, either in organic farming, either in conventional farming, give the farmer the opportunity to timely perform the post-emergent targeted treatments to weeds. Also, we can see some, let's say, cross-living lab comparisons that in general cover crop biomass and weed biomass were very high in the vineyard in Italy, this was a mistake, in the citrus orchard in Italy, probably due to increased precipitation and soil moisture content, compared to Cyprus, where there was very little, the precipitation height was too low. Also, I told you before about the specific perennial vine climbing weeds that we observed in the EMEA region in Greece. And also, we should know that all these species, the perennial one, and especially these vines, have an extensive and persistent underground root system. So they can only be treated by either by a systemic herbicide that can kill the rhizomes, the underground rhizomes, or by continuous operations of mowing and combination of other practices so as to starve this underground root system. Because with conventional practices, the species will just display regrowth after the treatment. I told you also about some examples of sustainable combination of cover crops and post-emergence wood control treatments later in the season, as the combination of an organic farming system, for example, of a veg cover crop followed by mechanical weeding through hoeing. Also, the cover crop diversity expressed by the establishment of mixture tends to improve weed suppression. As a summary, the first results from our first trial year, that was a year before, now we're in the second year. These are the preliminary results of the first year. Build the basis for a feasible and efficient combination of agroecological weed management practices, and we aim to boost their adoption, the wider adoption in European agriculture, something that is very challenging given the socioeconomic barriers that do exist. And in the next 2-year trials as future objectives, the best performing cover crops in each living lab of the project, in both conventional and organic side, have already been selected, inoculated, and studied as inoculated cover crops, along with additional agroecological weed management practices, with the concept of mixed weed management systems, meaning that we have the cover crops, inoculated or not, and the untreated control between, in the inter rows, between vine and tree rows, and we perform the treatments in the intra-row areas, meaning between trees or vines in the row. The results will be interesting. Now we're in the stage of data collection through the summer period. Also, we will have some yield parameter measurements and quality parameter measurements if statistically significant difference are shown during data analysis. These are the references, some references I used, and I thank you a lot for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gazoulis. This was very interesting, and the fact that it's got plots in many different countries, I think the results are going to be very useful, your final results. Are there any questions? If there are any questions or someone wants to clarify something with Mr. Gazoulis. Okay, so if there are no questions, maybe we can move on. Mrs. Kokini, if you're ready.
Yeah, thank you very much, and sorry for the inconvenience. And so I'm very glad to be here today. My name is Metaxia Kokini from the Agricultural University of Athens and Faculty of Crop Science. I'm going to share with you Valereco project and introduce you to some preliminary results that we have. Valereco started in June 2024, and it involves 15 partners from 11 different countries, and it's coordinated by Agricultural University of Athens and Professor Travlos. Valereco targets to promote the adoption and understanding of legume crops value. The aim is to quantify and enhance legume ecosystem services through diversified cropping systems across many European countries. And this way, we're contributing to healthier diets and climate resilience. The outcomes of the project will be a behavioral design framework in order to encourage the sustainable consumer choices, a decision support system in order to support farmers and advisors, and digital legume information hub that will serve as a one-stop shop for information regarding legumes, and an e-learning platform that will support capacity building. The challenges are related to promoting legumes and also include the overlooked and underestimated benefits of their ecosystem services, the inadequate investment, and the limited farmer awareness. So to overcome these barriers, Valereco focuses on three main pillars: identifying opportunities with a new common agricultural policy, valorizing legumes through participatory trials and co-creation solutions, and disseminating legumes through the digital legume information hub, the decision support system, and the e-learning platform. In the framework of the project, we are going to assess several ecosystem services like nitrogen fixation, carbon sequestration, biodiversity, conservation. But today I'm going to focus on pest control. And one of the main focus of this presentation is going to be specifically the agroecological weed management and the role of the legumes to suppress weeds. So here you can see the
I'm sorry.
Yes.
If we are sharing PowerPoint, we can't see it.
You can see my PowerPoint, but it's uploaded online. You can see it. Is everyone encounter this issue?
I can see your presentation.
Okay, you can see the presentation. Okay, maybe it is my problem. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's okay. Is anyone else have the same problem?
Yes, Metaxia, I have the same problem.
Okay. So maybe I will try to share my screen. Probably it will be better.
Maybe share your screen. This is what I also.
It's not going to be in a full mode, but are you all able now to see?
Ναι.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to just go to the part that I stopped, because it was most of them general information regarding the project. So as I said, here is the agroecological practices that play a key role in sustainable weed management, and especially through integration of legumes. Here we highlight three important practices: the crop rotation, the intercropping, and the cover crops that naturally suppress weed and improve soil structure and improve biodiversity. And we will move on to the legume that's selected for the field trial of our project. We have several field trials across the different European countries to cover different pedoclimatic conditions. In case of Greece, we're focusing on lentil and sula. And here I will present you the preliminary results from our first experimental year conducted in Valereco Greek Living Lab. Our field trial is located in Thiva region, and the Living Lab functions as a real-world testing ground where researchers and stakeholders co-develop and evaluate innovative practices. Some pedoclimatic informations from our site description. The average monthly temperature ranges from almost 23 degrees from September to 7 degrees in February, which is typical for this region. And the total rainfall recorded in this specific period was 327 millimeters. Regarding the soil characteristics, the pH was 7.82. The total organic matter, as you can see, is 1.24, and the soil texture was loamy. And for the experimental site, the setup was a randomized complete plot design with 3 replications arranged in a 3-plot design. Treatment 1 was the soil cropping without additional weed management. Treatment 2 was soil crop with mechanical weeding. Treatment 3 is intercropping without weeding. Treatment 4 is cover crop without extra weeding, and treatment 5 was cover crop followed by additional weed management. And you can see also the crop rotation schemes that we're going to follow. For the first experimental year, we established the 2 lentil cultivars, wheat and sola. Sorry. And for treatment 3, namely the intercropping, wheat was used as an intercrop in the experimental plots of lentil and sola, while sola was used as a companion crop for wheat plots. For treatment 4 and 5, the cover crop consisted of a mixture of oat and mustard. And this was established in autumn, and after that the cover crops were mechanically terminated and the residues were incorporated. The 2 lentil cultivars that were used at the experiment was Samos and Dimtra, and the dominant wheat species for this period was Sterilote and wild mustard. So several parameters were measured in the experimental field, but I will focus on key indicators related to the study. With density, with biomass, crop biomass, normalized difference vegetation index, and grain yield. Data were analyzing a 2-way analysis of variance. The fixed effects were the treatment, and the random effects were the blocks, meaning the replicates. And as about the correlation, we based on the exponential model with grain yield as the dependent variable, and the NDVI measured 60 days after the sowing was the independent variable. Here is an example of how we statistically analyze the integrated effects of crop and treatment on wheat biomass. It was not easy in the specific presentation to include graphs with 35 bars. So the diagrams that I'm going to present you are comparisons between treatments within each crop. So I'm going to start with the first lentil cultivar. So as you can see, the intercropping treatment with wheat, with the cover crop treatment significantly it reduced wheat biomass by 42% and 59% respectively, compared to treatment 1, that was the untreated control. And for the lentil cultivar 1, treatment 5 led almost to a 6-fold reduction in Avena sterilis biomass compared to the control, treatment 1. Also, Synapse arvensis biomass was significantly lower in the treatment 5 plots, cover crops, and after that mechanical weed control, compared to treatment 2 plots, also in the first cultivar of lentil. Here you can see some photos from the first lentil cultivar from the untreated control compared with the mechanical controlled treatment, and also a photo from the intercropping of wheat and sola. And for the second lentil cultivar, wheat biomass remained high under the untreated control, reaching almost 605 grams per square meters, and treatment 2, 3, and 4 were effective in reducing wheat biomass, while treatment 5 was the most efficient, which achieved an 85% reduction compared to the untreated control. Here also some photos from the second cultivar of lentil and compared to the treatment of mechanical wheat control. And now we're moving on to the wheat plots. The intercropping with Sula, treatment 3, proved highly effective, reducing wheat biomass by 87% compared to the untreated control. Treatment 2 and treatment 5 also showed the sufficient wheat suppression. Some photos from the cover crop mixture and the termination of the cover crops. And similar results were also observed in the experimental plots where Sula was established. Intercropping with wheat reduced wheat biomass compared to the untreated control. And additionally, in the Sula plots, the mechanical wheat control treatments, both with or without cover crops, were very effective. And regarding the crop biomass, Sula produced the highest crop biomass, as you can see, and nearly double the biomass of wheat. And in contrast, the two lentil cultivars exhibited the lowest biomass values. Oh, sorry. And approximately 87% of the variability in the grain yield of lentil cultivar 1 could be attributed by the NDVI measured of 60 days after the sowing, and this indicated that NDVI is a strong predictor of the yield. And regarding discussion and our key conclusion, the highest total wheat biomass were observed in lentil plots compared to the wheat plots. Intermediate values were observed for Sula plots. The high wheat biomass in lentil plots indicates the low compatibility against wheats, and this is also observed in another studies. The mechanical wheat control was effective in both lentil and Sula plots, and in accordance also with previous research in chickpea in Greece. The cover crop treatment proved effective in managing weeds in the Sula plots. Cover cropping was been recommended as an effective practice to suppress weeds, and especially when used alongside with narrow spacing. The cover crop followed by mechanical weed control treatment resulted in the lowest weed biomass across all experimental plots. NDVI was a reliable indicator of lentil cultivar 1 yield, and it also proved by another previous works. All the above practices studied in the framework of the project aim to develop an agroecological weed management system that promote the broader exploitation of the ecosystem services provided by legumes. The field trial will continue for 2 more years. We are now in the first year, and this will also confirm the results and highlights their very significant place in legume-based cropping system in the modern day agriculture. And a key objective is to assess whether the crop rotation influences weed and crop growth, and also if it interacts significantly with the agroecological weed management practice that tested in the framework of the project and the different living labs that we have been established. Here is also some references. Thank you very much for your attention. You can also scan the QR code to find more information about the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
I can hear you for some reason.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much for your presentation. And if there are any questions for Mrs. Kokini? I'm sorry, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. Okay. Since there are no questions, I would like to ask you both some questions. First of all, I think Mr. Grazoulis mentioned the socioeconomic barriers that exist. Agroecology is a farm approach based around incorporating nature into every part of the farming system, but it also extends into the way that the farm products are marketed. And if you have any aspect of how this affects the actual implementation of agroecology from the farmers.
So, Eleni, for these nice questions, so as to make some short notes on the biggest socioeconomic barriers related to the practical adoption of agroecological practices under real field conditions. The first one, to reply first to your comment on the marketing of products, and then to present you some more barriers that we have observed during, also before building the proposal and the project and through its implementation. Well, first of all, regarding the marketing, I think that actions should be done so as to have a specific labeling of products with a sign and a trademark that it has been produced by using agroecological practices, either in conventional, either in organic farming systems, because this is something that is not well recognized. The labeling exists only for organic farming systems, but in the next years and in the next decade, agroecological labeling should also enter the place in the market, because it is a more flexible approach that has more plasticity to be implemented in diverse cropping scenarios and different systems, and either alleviate the pressure of chemicals and inputs in conventional systems, and also open the eyes of the farmers for multiple combinations of sustainable practices in organic farming systems. Now, the true barriers rely first, especially when it comes to pest and weed suppression, which is the most restricting factor. The most important factor restricting weeds is, first of all, efficacy. Like with an agroecological practice, the farmer should be trained and educated that you will not achieve complete control, but the issue nowadays is not control, the issue is management. Like especially in perennial crops, there are weeds that are not detrimental, there are weeds that are beneficial. The aim by establishing cover crops, for example, is to manipulate also the resource amount in soil so as to create neutral weed communities that do not compete with the crop. But this is something that needs establishment of several workshops, field demo event days, so as to educate and communicate that this is the target. Also, there is the psychological factor of a farmer, especially farmers of older generations, because they are satisfied when they see the weeds stunted after a herbicide treatment, because that means that it's actually 100% effective. But they do not have any knowledge on potential negative effects, not only to the environment, but also to the efficacy of the current herbicide that exists, because in the current strict legislation of European Union where we live, there are multiple substances and active ingredients that whose use is not even registered and it's recalled. So there are fewer herbicides available. So if we use only the same for many years, weeds will be resistant, and agroecology in this case can contribute to the development of strategies based on many little hammers that will not let weeds adapt and not only offer benefits to the environment, but also maintain in conventional systems the efficacy of herbicides that are currently available. Another barrier is also the practical equipment and the support, the economic support and the access to specific equipment. Like, for example, in Greece, we perform a termination of the cover crops by mechanical means. Mechanical means was flail mowing. But although in this case we had success, we also observed that the oat cover crop in the mixture in monocultural well exhibited significant regrowth during the summer and could act also as a weed competing with vines when the vines were at the stage of grape set, the fruit set. If we have access to a better equipment, meaning not to cut the cover crop just with flail mowing, but also to crimp it with a specific equipment that can roll the cover crop and kill it in this way, it can create a mulch that may be more effective. But a farmer needs to have access so as to see the best option and economic incentives to see the best option and actually be persuaded to apply. This is also another example. Market labeling show the efficacy, training to farmers that need to be educated in these new concepts, and also access to specific equipment to optimize all combinations. I hope my response and exchange of knowledge covered you, and we can continue with more if you want.
Yes, thank you very much. We also encounter this kind of problems through our webinars in the Agri-Food project. The farmers, and mainly in Greece also, as of Greece, do not have access to, they cannot be informed to be educated for the other options that they got. There is also the economic aspect, as always. I don't know, how do you see these strategies, agroecological strategies, integrating with digital or precision farming approaches? They're traditional, can they be combined with new technologies or regarding the decision support system?
I think that the optimal solution is to have that all platforms are not the same. I believe that two different categories of platforms can give solutions to different target groups. I mean, the one target group where a DSS, a decision support system, can give solutions with specific data amounts, like when to irrigate, how, amount of fertilizers, amount of pesticides or herbicides, time of treatment, selection of ingredients with specific doses. These are for the community of scientists that need to develop and test new solutions. The target group of farmers and actual stakeholders, I think that they need to have first access to more simple platforms where they can enter their problems, like select the wheat flora. What are, okay, these are Johnson grass, a perennial grass, Sorghum halepense, and also Setaria viridis, another grass. And in the winter, we have Sinapis arvensis, a common broadleaf wheat. Then selection, like organic farming system or conventional farming system. Another, like what are you planting in this field? If it's an annual cropping system, what is the rotation previous year? Continuous monocropping or rotation? So as to identify problems in a simpler way, without numbers, without data, and they can get a quick overview of what should they do in general, so as to be first familiarized, and then after education and engagement and interaction with the scientific community, to actually try to bridge this gap.
So is there any kind of tool like that in Greece or in Europe that you're aware of?
We are developing. We have almost developed a tool like this with a simple form under the concept of one green project, which has also, in which we have also 6 living labs in areas in monocropping and perennial cropping areas in Greece, with crops as rice, maize, olive groups, and forage crops. We have launched a preliminary version of the platform, but of course we need to add a lot more data. But as we have from questionnaires we have collected, we can see that this simple form, which is not so robust by a scientific aspect, has a wider adoption compared to more complex And I think that such tools, especially to farmers that do not belong to our generation, and there are 1 or 2 generations before, can have access and familiarize themselves step by step with the concept of digital farming. But we should also mention that farmers, in many cases, they may be like, okay, I want to do my conventional practice and be sure about my yield and my result. But in many cases, farmers are very excited about the concept of a drone flight above their field, or data collection or by using precision agricultural practices and digital farming practices. And in some cases, in my opinion, I believe that this also depends on the person, on the personal factor.
I 100% agree. It is, of course, a personal factor. I want to ask you, both of you, the plots that you established, these farms, are they farmers that you reached out to and they agreed to give? Please, Ms. Kokini.
Yeah, this is the way that we work in the framework of Valereco. We found a farmer that was in Thiva region. We reached out to him and we get his help in order to establish. And this is also how we reach out to the network and the Living Land Board that I mentioned about that we have in each country, that it includes also a farmer from the same region that they are interested in legume crops, and the same approach we adopt in most of the field experiments that we have in our team. Also, Yannis, if you want to add something.
Also, this is the way we're working in our projects. Like I told you before that it depends on the person. And some people are excited when they hear that there is the opportunity to test something new and innovative in their fields. So they give us the field for free also, and they ask us a lot of questions on what's happening. They go to the field to get observations, personal visual observations, not in a scientific aspect, but visual observations, which are very difficult. And this is very important because this is a concept. This is the concept of establishing living labs. Living labs, it's not only the trial. Living lab is the inclusion of the wider community into the development of such solutions by an holistic approach.
And they are involved in the decision making that we have in the field trial. We have established at least 2 meetings per year. Most of them are remote. That we inform them about their results, or they ask them about their opinion in the field trial, the measurements, what they were thinking about.
Metaxia, as you remember, in many cases, like in the first preliminary years, before building our trials, the knowledge exchange with the local landowners helped us develop protocols that are suitable for its area, because we are in agriculture where the climate and the soil affects everything. So we need to build tailored solutions to every site. So it was very important to get this knowledge and have immediate feedback also whenever we want it.
This is very interesting in general, and I think the whole sector is slowly but steadily moving towards practices like agroecological zoning, like permaculture, I don't know if you're aware of the project Olivares Vivos, that it's been some years that they were trying to keep natural vegetation around the olive orchards in Spain. I want to ask you if you would choose a few differences between agroecology and permaculture or regenerative agriculture. Do you identify differences? Are they the same result with different approaches? How would you describe this?
Well, I think that all these approaches are very similar, like regenerative agriculture aims to rebuild again the natural resources. Also, agroecology has very similar objective and very similar methodologies. But the practices in many cases are the same. Like, okay, cover cropping also is used for pest suppression in agroecology and weed suppression, and in regenerative agriculture it can be used to restore the soil organic carbon and the soil organic matter. In agroecology, the benefit is the same. The true objective, but as there are also similarities in implementing, there are also similarities in the challenges for both of these for all these aspects to be integrated actually in the real field conditions and actually provide solutions not only on paper but also in real life.
Thank you very much for this very fruitful conversation. I don't know if anyone from the group wants to add something. I think our speakers are very open to any questions. Okay, so if there are no other questions, maybe we can start our coffee break now. And we will meet again at the same link, right, Stavroula, to continue with the workshop?
Yes, right. Let's say that we'll be back, let's say 12:30, because we are a little behind the schedule, so to be on time. I think 12:30 we can be back. Okay?
Okay. Thank you again very much for
Very
this
much.
session.